this, that. And then eventually you make it huge, and then people just give you
like,
shit.
here's free stuff. You're like, oh, wait,
Yeah.
what? Dude.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So much.
Dude, I brought us the Bible.
Sweet. Awesome.
The
Perfect.
book I was talking about. I'm thinking of. I'm just gonna frame it right the fuck here. Boom. Next to our unpaid sponsorships.
They'll pay us one day.
Yeah. Dude, talk to me. How we feeling?
I feel good.
Congrats, first of all.
Thank you.
That was epic. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, it's crazy. I took a picture of the Masters USA poster because I was in line.
Okay.
It's like, next year, this is the goal. I want to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
Masters next year.
Explain to people what the Masters USA
Yeah,
thing
so
is.
Masters is for bodybuilding. If you place top 2 in your division, you get to go to nationals in Vegas, and you get to compete for a pro card.
Epic.
And I placed second in Masters 35 and up, and I placed fifth in Open, which I'm really annoyed about because it was my fault completely.
Yeah,
I
we're going to
should've
talk
got
about
second
that.
in both, man. I'm really kicking myself in the butt, but it was great. It felt good to compete again. I felt, like I belonged there. I put on 18 pounds since the last show. It showed on stage for sure.
Wild.
I was way bigger than last time.
Yeah.
And still the most shredded. I was the leanest, easy.
Out of the whole,
Out of all the guys I competed against.
What were you at body fat wise?
I was at 6. It wasn't even as low as last time was 3. Thought I was going to die.
Holy cow, that's crazy.
Yeah, 6%, and I'd like to get to 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Because these guys, the national show is going to be
Yeah.
a whole other level of competition because it's everybody
Right
from
on.
across the country.
Should we just introduce this thing because we're getting in the meat of it right away?
Yeah. Welcome to the Warrior Poet Podcast. It's Josh.
Cash, we're back in,
We're
baby.
back.
Let's
Yeah,
do
we're
this.
here. Yeah, so we just came off a bodybuilding show, and first one in 7 years. And it was a blast, and it was also one of those things where all the stuff we've been talking about, stoicism and like getting your head right before, I lost all of it, like right out the window. When
It'd be too easy if it just stuck with you.
Standing in line with these dudes, and I'm like, all right, this class is next to me. There's probably 6 or 7 dudes. There's 4 in front of me. And I'm looking at them, and I'm like, yo, I am in the wrong division. Like, I'm not big enough to be here. These are like linebackers.
Right.
Like, they felt
But did you feel
huge.
okay about the way you looked before you saw them?
I felt great until I
Isn't
got
that
in
crazy?
line.
Yeah,
I felt
yeah.
I was so shredded. I was confident. My body dysmorphia is so wild.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And I can't see my size differences. I don't see the change. I wish that I could. I'm really working on it.
Right. You mean compared to like, let's say 7 years ago?
Yeah,
when
exactly.
You,
7
even
years
when I
ago.
first met you, like a year or something ago, like you were ginormously so much bigger.
It's so hard to see those things for me. And I looked at the comparison shots after we're all on stage. I'm like, oh, bro, maybe they have 10 pounds on me.
That's crazy.
Nothing. Like, I can put 10 pounds on in 6 months, no problem.
Yeah.
But it felt like it. And I was trying to get that stillness and try to focus. Hey, focus on you. Think about what you did. And I just couldn't hold on to it.
Yeah.
And so when I got on stage, dude, I have a strong side and a weak side. I think almost everybody does. You all kind of know, like, hey, this is my good angle. This is my bad angle.
That's why this podcast works for me. I like the left.
Yeah, right. So, like, my strong side is slightly facing towards the right.
Okay.
Weak side is the other. I, in comparisons, hit the weak side 5 times in a row.
Why?
They're like, hit your best pose. And I hit the wrong one. I thought I was hitting the right one. I don't know why. And
Wait, is it because it's... No, it's not reverse. It's like the same as it would be in front of the mirror.
I've hit it 100 times practicing. And when they said hit your front pose, wrong pose. Back pose, great. And crushed it. No one touched me. My back was wild.
Yeah.
Front pose, wrong one. Every time. My posing coach.
As in you literally did the wrong pose?
Yeah, every time. 5 times in a row. Because it was such a tight class, they compared us a ton. And so my posing coach comes back and he's like, hey, that's the wrong side. Why are you doing the wrong side? I'm like, no, we're good. Like, I'm pretty sure that was the right side. He's like, look at the video. And I was like, oh, man.
My man was so confident. No, surely it's your eyes, bro. What?
The worst part was then I went on again for open. And I did the same thing 5 more times.
Wait,
dude.
okay, so
after he showed me.
Break it down for people. So what happens is you compete in your division first.
Yeah, so you compete in your division, which is novice, true novice, 35 and up, masters, classes, whatever. And then you complete an open if you want to.
And that's everybody,
Open's everybody
together.
And
okay.
yeah, those are no age brackets, no requirements. Anyone can do it. It's the best one to be in to see.
Do you agree with your coach beforehand? You go, yeah, we're going to do open as well? Or do you kind of make the decision on the day?
No, I wanted to do open. I was really ready to test myself against competition. Last time I just did novice, which is like beginner. And this time I was like, hey, I've been doing this for a long time. I want to test myself against these guys. Even if I get last, let's just see where we're at.
Right.
So I went on for open, and there was 9 of us, and I was on the end, far end, which is last when we just came out. And I hit the wrong pose again, like 5 times. But I got moved from 9th to 6th to 4th to 3rd to 4th.
But so talk to me, like what I'm really interested in is, well, 2 things: how you reacted once you realized you had hit the wrong pose, but also what was going through your mind as you were doing it. Because you expressed that like you were feeling really confident. Then you expressed that you started doubting yourself. Yeah. And then there's, like, after all of this, there's the moment where you go on stage. So what happened?
The self-doubt definitely took over when I was looking at them in line. And even after my coach told me I did the wrong side, I was like, okay, I got it. We're good.
Is it because you weren't really present? Like dissociating almost?
I think I wasn't as present because I was already thinking about being back on stage again. And I'm like, okay, I hit the wrong pose, but it was the right one. How did I hit the wrong one? Like, I don't understand. So I was confused. I don't know why I hit the wrong pose. Like, I've done it 100 times. And also, to be completely honest, visually, like when you're on stage, like you guys can probably see the crowd and the judges. Right. I can't see anything. Yeah. I can hear people chanting for my competition or for me, but in the morning there was no one there for me but one person.
Does that work in your favor, would you say, though, or not?
You need cheers. It helps the judges for sure if you have a crowd.
But so that's like what you hear, right? But the fact that you can't see how many people...
I don't think it helps. Here's what happened, I think, that really ruined it for me, to be honest. Like, the judges will, like, apparently, like, motion to you to move. I can't see them, dude. I don't know. I guess I got motion to move, but they didn't say it over the loudspeaker, because usually they say it, 41, switch with 42. I didn't hear them say anything. And I guess the judge had mimicked it, and the guy was like, move. And then I heard my coach go, move. And I was like, me? And I'm looking at the guy, I'm like, am I supposed to move, bro? And the guy's like, yeah, man, go switch over there. And I was like, oh, this is horrible. You're supposed to put your hand up so they, like, the crowd knows it's you. You switch. And then that made it worse, like, so much worse. Because then I was, like, embarrassed. So, like, oh, God, this is going horribly wrong. And then I hit the wrong pose again.
And also, like, I'm sure it does something to your psychology, because when you're embarrassed, you don't want to be, like, flaunting it. You're like, all of a sudden you want to retreat. Dude, and, like, you know.
It was just unpleasant. And then I'm like, all right, well, I got last for sure.
Right.
And then I get off stage, and my posing coach, Christian, comes back, and he goes, hey, man, did you fucking decide that was your best pose? And I'm like, no. He's like, did your coach decide that was your best pose? I'm like, no. He's like, why'd you do it again? I'm like, I didn't. I did the other side. He's like, no, you fucking didn't. Wow. And he showed me another video. And I was like, oh, my God. He's like, hey, man, I don't know what happened. Like, you nailed this routine so many times. Before we went on stage, he came in the back with me. We went through it. We pumped up. We got ready. Nailed it. And then I did it wrong every single time. Then I needed to do it right. And he was like, look, you could have got 2nd place. No problem.
Yeah.
You might get 4th place now. Because it's such a vast difference. I'm so shredded. My obliques go high into my lats. My shoulder curves better on this side. It's just a strong angle.
Right.
The other side, just genetically, like the attachment of like the abdomen with the oblique, it doesn't look as good. And it's enough where I dropped 3 places.
Wow.
I still placed top 5, so I was able to give both my kids a medal, which was really cool.
That's awesome.
That was really nice, but it was freaking 5th place. Yeah. My son turns around, he's like, why'd you say 5th? I'm like, oh man, I'm so sorry, bro. Yeah. He was just like, no, it's okay.
He's like,
no, it's
the
not.
Fuck that?
I don't want this. Take it back.
He's just waiting for you at the bottom, like, bruh.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, I was just, but look, all that aside, I sat in the back bummed, dude, because I didn't know I qualified for nationals either.
Yeah.
I thought it was just 1st place. And so I sat in the back. All the guys have left now. All the bikini girls are coming back because we switch over. And I'm sitting in the corner just chilling, like thinking, like, all right, look, it's the first show. These are all the mistakes that you have to make. I haven't done this in 7 years. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And when I walked back, my dad was the first one that came up with EE, had a box of donuts. He just flipped it open because he was waiting to eat his the whole time. No one would let him eat his donut until he ate it with me. He's like, donut? And I was like, you can have yours. And he just like inhaled it. But my dad came up to me and he was like, hey, you got nationals. And I was like, no, I didn't. He's like, yeah, you did. Your coach said nationals. And Frankie walks up, my coach, Frankie, and he's like, hey, bro, you killed it. He's like, you hit the wrong pose for sure. Every time. That's not your strong side. He's like, but look, second place. He's like, you said end of the year you wanted to do a show. I wanted to compete in November or December. He's like, you qualified for nationals. And I was like, how? He's like, it's first and second. You got second place. That's nationals in Vegas.
Can I throw a little trigger trap at you? Because I'm very interested. It's the second time you mentioned that someone tells you something and you don't believe them.
Yeah.
In that moment, do you think that there is something in there to be said for like?
Probably. Look, confidence has been an issue for me. Like that confidence, self-confidence has been an issue for me for probably like a couple years.
Yeah.
And I'm in therapy. The main reason I went into therapy was for confidence issues. Because I run businesses where I need to be confident.
100%. And a leader. And you got to trust your own voice, totally.
Exactly. And I've been struggling with it for a long time. So for a year and a half, we've been going through EMDR and some trauma stuff too, but it's really been a confidence thing because you're right. Like, I thought he was wrong. He would know.
Right.
He's my coach, you know? And I think with that like confidence issue, you said it earlier, did you disassociate? It's one of my main problems. I disassociate very easily. It's just a trauma response from childhood stuff.
Totally. But people who might not know, I think it's cool to kind of explain that dissociating is basically when you're physically in the room or in a conversation or at an event or whatever it is, but technically your mind is somewhere else. And like you said, it's very often from a trauma response. And it's a very unsettling feeling because it's very much a feeling of like when it happens to me, I feel like I'm buzzing almost. Like I want to be grounded and be there, but somehow your mind is somewhere else. And it feels like you're literally like in the passenger seat of your own body. It's a very surreal experience.
Body feels it too. Like
Yeah.
The weirdest part is like I call it discomfort. Like the discomfort that you feel like in your body in that moment is just.
How do you? Because now I'm sure like through therapy and through having worked on yourself and all that, like I'm sure now you feel it when it happens. Sometimes it catches you off guard though, and like 2 hours have gone by and then you're like, oh, I dissociated. But now when you identify it, I'm curious because I think that could be helpful for a lot of people. Like, what do you do to ground again?
One of the main techniques that we've been working on is reframing, like in my head. When I can tell I'm disassociating, it's reframing to let myself know I'm in the present. Sometimes tapping, just tapping my legs, let me know, like, hey, we're in this moment right now. Like tap your feet or your legs.
Or like your senses, like just noticing things around the room, feeling your feet on the floor, all that stuff.
Yeah, and then reframing, like, hey, that was the past. We're in this moment. You're in your office. You're in your house. This is your room. Like, you're not in that room anymore or in that place.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that could have been a factor. But, confidence is something that I've been trying to build back and work on for a while. So, I think which is also good because I like exposure therapy, like we talked about last week with the tarantula idea.
Yeah,
but going on stage for me...
See, I dissociated when you talked about that last week.
Going on stage for me was putting myself in it. Like, hey, there's no confidence here. You're going to be in your underwear in front of a bunch of people and then be looking at your body and judging you.
People literally have nightmares about this, like low-key. Like, that's...
Totally. Yeah. And it can be uncomfortable. And you can see guys just... I mean, I saw some other guys go up who were just... When they realized they were last, just deflated. Like, just they couldn't even hit a pose because they were just out. Like, because it is so scary. There's hundreds of people in the room watching.
I'm... Off the cuff, something comes to me that I think is interesting to ask you. How much of being successful in competition is hard work versus genetics? Where do you stand in that conversation?
I think that genetics plays a humongous factor, man. I really do. And I am only hard work. I don't have good genetics. I have a genetic disability. Like, I literally don't have the best genetics. But I can outwork most people because I'm just tenacious and relentless. And so for me, when I look at the guy that beat me, the main guy, genetics, for sure. I'm not saying he's not a hard worker because that's not what I mean. You can have great genetics and still work hard.
Yeah, you can have the combo.
And he probably worked really hard to get there, but just genetically speaking, you can tell. He had better genetics than I did.
Right.
I'm going to have to work 100 times harder to beat him. But I think that it's completely possible. Yeah. I love the opportunity to go up against somebody who has those genetics.
It's that being the underdog.
Oh, totally.
That feeling.
I love the underdog story.
Yeah, 100%.
So, I mean, and I think that's kind of was a little bit of a factor too. I'm looking at these guys, I'm like, man, I had to work so hard for this.
Right.
These guys look like they just walked out of bed. Their bedrooms looking like some of them were just like, yo, bro, like you just look at this all the time, don't you? And but the confident person in me that I'm slowly building back likes that.
Right.
Because I'm super competitive.
Right.
I'm not competitive in the way where I will verbally tell you I'm going to beat you or I'm going to tell you that we're competing.
Right.
But I'm always secretly competing with everybody.
Right.
Like, I'm super competitive.
What's that? I'm very curious about what that conversation looks like, given that you're a father, given that you have a daughter, but also a boy, right? Mm-hmm. And like, given that I'm sure you had to explain at some point, how old is E again?
E's 6, and Sammy's a competitor too. She's 14. She's a competitive cheerleader since she was 4.
Right. Okay, so E being 6, which is very much like a pillar, very foundational kind of like age. I'm sure you've had many of these conversations with him of like, well, this is what dad is doing right now. This is why dad trains so hard. This is why dad can't have pizza or donuts with you tonight, blah, blah, blah. All these.
He keeps me on check, bro. He's like, you can only eat tilapia. I was like, what? You can't have pizza, just tilapia. I'm like,
well, exactly. And so I'm sure that, you've had many of these conversations that, and I'm sure it didn't go amiss to you either, that like, it's such an amazing opportunity to work so hard for an event to, like teach him a lesson, like a very important life lesson on what commitment looks like, on what setting goals looks like. And I'm very curious as to, hearing you talk a little bit about that, but also, given that you did amazing. And in everybody's eyes, your team and all of that, you won and you placed for, you get an opportunity to compete pro and all that stuff, which is amazing. But I'm curious to know also what the other side of not finishing first and not winning looks like in that post conversation with him, because there's a lesson in there too.
We did talk too. I've always talked to E like he's a person.
He is.
But like baby talk, like people do like baby. I've always talked to E like he's just been my friend since he was little.
That's
I've
awesome.
always talked to him that way. And my wife's like, "Why do you talk to him like that? He doesn't know what you're saying." I'm like, "He's gonna figure it out though. Like because I talk to him this way, like we're gonna have that better relationship and connection. Because all of you guys treat him like a baby."
Yeah. Can I just say, low-key, some of the things I find funniest is when people talk to babies like they would to an adult. I think that's so funny. Like, you peed yourself again, didn't you?
Yeah.
All right, go
that's
fix
how I
it.
talk to E, man. Like, hey, you're good, right? We're good. And he's just like. So yeah, we had to talk, and look, and it was hard because look, in my head after I got second, my dad came up to me and he's always been so supportive, right? He's very competitive too.
Yeah.
And in my head, he's like, "You got second place," and in my head, I hear, "If you're not first, you're last." Like right away in my head, and I just kept hearing that Ricky Bobby quote from Talladega Nights over and over. I'm like, "No, I got last place. I didn't get first. I fucking lost." And but then E was so excited that I had medals. Like he was so stoked, and so was Sammy. And I put the medals on them. We took pictures and everything. And E asked about the 5th place. He said, "We got 2nd and 5th." And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Were you gonna get first, or are you gonna get first next time?" And I was like, "You know what, buddy? I'm gonna try so hard to get first. Like I want to be first, but I have to earn it. Like I have to put in the work to beat somebody. And if I don't, we're still competing. We're still going through the process. I'm not going to cheat. We're still going to keep doing what we're doing because he's up with me in the morning. When I'm on the bike, he's on the couch chilling with me at like 5 a.m.
Right, eating the donuts that you won't have.
He's eating the donuts, basically, like for real. He's eating donuts or muffins. Yeah. And so because I don't want him to think that competing only matters if you're first. Right? I don't want him to think that, but I also want him to try to win. I don't really necessarily like participation trophies personally. It's not something that I believe helps. There's guys that competed in divisions with no one in them and they won by default.
Right.
You didn't beat anybody. And they're told at the athlete meeting, "Hey, there's no one in your division. Do you want to go in open too?" And they're like, "No." And the lady, I watched the girl, but you're going to win against nobody.
It's like there's cool, not the same kind of merit that comes with.
You got to earn it. And I want E to want to work to earn things.
Yeah, like, that's very much, I think, the warrior side of our podcast, right? The warrior poet. Like, it's like, it just knowing that you had to compete and outwork other people in order to get the trophy or the medal, whatever it is, I think really it's like the cherry on top of the win. It really, it makes it meaningful, I think.
Yeah, and him seeing me up there was a really cool moment for me. I haven't competed in anything since he's been around, and I like that he's seeing the process. He's in the gym with me a lot. He sees me working here, sees me at home eating certain meals, and we talk about it. Hey, why can't you eat pizza? Gotta compete on stage, bro. And now he knows what the show is, so now he's like, wait, like, this is so cool. Like, you do this, and then now he's bodybuilding everywhere. You just watch him do you see my back?
That's
you see my back?
hilarious.
Like, yeah, dude, I see your back. It looks great.
That's so funny.
So he's getting kind of into it himself, which is really cute. So
I'm curious about the, like, I've never had that thought before now, and it's interesting. Like, I think I've told you this before. Like, ever since I was a little boy, I always wanted to be a dad. I don't know what it is. It's just something that pulls at me, and I can't wait for that day. And as someone who's already going through it yourself, I wonder if there is an advantage or a benefit to going through adversity and life moments that force you to level up, so to speak, and to have to almost bypass your own feelings because you're a father to just go straight to the lesson so that your son understands what it is that happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get the luxury, maybe when you're on your own, but as a dad, you kind of have this responsibility to just, like, you know, the second you step off stage and you see him, to go not wallow in your pity, but instead go, hey kid, like, we did really good. See, this is what happened, and this is the life lesson. And
that's why I waited in the back for like 10 minutes, because I knew if I went out right away, like, my initial response was like, man, I'm so sorry I didn't do better. Like, I should have done better. I messed up. No one did anything to me but me. I hit the wrong pose. No one, like, scored a point on me. Like, I messed up. And I take full responsibility for whatever that was. I don't know exactly, just in the moment, but I didn't want E to see me respond that way. And I knew I would.
See, totally.
So I kind of chilled, and I looked at the medals. I'm like, all right, dude, like, look, like, we won. Like, you got second place. Like, that's a big win. Like, last time you got nothing. Like, you got 9th last time. So, like, 9th out of 24. We got 5th out of 9, which is great. That's top 5. And we got 2nd. Like, that's great. This is good. Get your shit together. E's going to be so stoked. Sammy's going to be so stoked that you got
And it doesn't mean you can't have that moment for yourself later on. But
no, totally. And I just took it, and I really just relaxed, and I came out, and I saw my dad first. And my dad is, you know, my hero, one of my best friends. And he was so happy that I got up there again, just that I competed again. And so he was like, you got 2nd place. I was like, yeah. Like, but even in then, I wanted to say that quote, you know?
Right.
Last place, but whatever. But, you know, you don't want your kids to see you respond that way. It's just not an option. Like, and I wasn't going to let it happen in front of them. I talked to, you know, some of my friends afterwards about it a little bit. They're like, dude, are you happy? And I'm like, you know, I am happy, but I wish I wouldn't have made that mistake.
And that's all right. I think, like, it reminds me of, I feel like with anything meaningful and worth doing in life, there is always this sort of, like, you have to go through the process of, like, missing the shots. You have to go through the process of like fucking it up. You have to go through the process of like committing to something and it doesn't work out. It's almost like, and I know we said we were going to talk about it this podcast, but I almost think that we're talking on the fly here. We should do it another separate podcast, but it reminds me of a short that I did in the beginning of the year. And, you know, I was a writer on it for the first time. And, you know, that was kind of like a steep learning curve for me because I've always written stuff, but to all of a sudden commit to something and wanting it to be really successful in a completely different venture, but in a similar way that you want it to be successful with that with that show, there is something about it where like you want to get it right away. Totally. And the only way I know for writing with me was to force myself to sit down and accept that not everything I will write will be great right away. It's almost like you have to put in the hours where you're going to write all the shit stuff because that's going to be you purging and going through all the mess and the mud to reveal the final thing. Totally. But you can only do that through putting in the hours and going at it. And I feel like that's very much, you know, not to take anything away from what you did, because in my eyes, you succeeded because of that very reason. You made the mistakes. You made the mistakes. Now they're out of the way. You're not going to make them again. And now the next time you're going to level up even more.
And I think that's what helped me reframe when I was starting to reframe, like I'm taught to do in therapy, even with these kind of things. You know, I try really hard to reframe everything when I start to get that way. This show was just to get back in the game. Mm-hmm. Like that was the goal. Like I wanted to win. Like don't get me wrong.
Totally.
But the real main purpose was just step on stage again, feel the lights, feel prep, feel cutting, that week of water cutting, water loading, and then move forward. Get some feedback, work on the feedback, and then the end of the year, crush it.
Totally.
Like, that was the plan.
Yeah.
And so when I look at what the plan was, and placing top 2 was not even, part of the plan.
Right.
We placed top 2. So we're ahead of the plan. We made mistakes still. And you're right. I'm not going to make those mistakes again. I don't make the same mistake twice ever.
Yeah. And you kind of know what your tendencies are now as a result of having gone through the ringer again.
No one will get in my head this time because I know that I belong there. I saw the side-by-sides. Like, I 100% can be on that stage.
And it's so simple, but it is so true. The more you do it, the better you become at it.
Yeah,
and there's just no way around that. You could be as gifted, as talented, as genetically blessed, all that stuff. You just got to put in the hours. There's just no way around that.
No, you're 100% right. And I think that's something that I noticed that from the 2 shows was I did so many hours of posing with my coach, Christian, who I had both times.
Yeah.
I only saw Christian 2 times this show. And then I posed on my own, and I tried to master it. But Christian is a master. He's an artist. His posing's amazing. And so I texted him after what I got for placement, and he was so happy and so excited for me because he was with me the first time. And he saw the size difference and all the work I put in. And, he was like, hey, we just got to put in some more hours. You didn't put enough hours. And I'm like, yeah, 100%. You're right. It didn't happen. And, one of the other things that was kind of cool for me with Christian is very well known in the bodybuilding community. He's been on some of the biggest teams in Southern California. I was texting him when I was in that dark space, right? That down moment. And I was sitting on the ground and I was texting Christian. And I was like, hey, man, I'm so sorry that I messed that posing up. Your posing, the routine that you gave me was too good to mess up. Like, it was so well done. He designed it for me and my body specifically. And I was like, I'm so sorry that I did that. And I'm like, but thank you. Thank you for seeing me in this sport, because as someone with a disability, I'm not treated very well here.
Sure.
No one talked to me in the back. Like, nobody. Like, they were talking to each other. Wow. And I wasn't getting talked to by anybody.
Did they know you have a disability?
No, it's just the sunglasses. They probably just thought I was an asshole.
Right.
That's probably what they assumed. But because they thought that, I could feel that energy. I can always feel it in any room I go in.
Right. I'm curious. Do you have is there a category for people that have disabilities?
No, wheelchairs. Yeah, there's kind of wheelchairs.
So very different.
Yeah,
okay.
very different. Yeah.
And
there's been fully blind bodybuilders.
Do the judges know that you have a disability?
I had to ask them if I could wear my glasses on stage.
Sure.
I need to get permission because they could say no. Yeah. I have a card that I show them so they know that I'm not lying.
Yeah.
But the athletes backstage were just not friendly at all. And luckily there was a famous bodybuilder there that I know because I've been doing this a long time. I know so many people in this industry. And I didn't think he would remember me because I haven't seen him in like 8 years. But I saw him with his athletes, and I was like, I'm just going to go say hi. And I walked up, and I'm like, hey, Ronnie, it's Josh. I don't know if you remember me from NutriShop in Northridge. And he's like, oh, my God. And he gave me like the biggest hug. He's like, how have you been? You look huge. And we talked for 5 minutes, and then everyone started talking to me because I knew Ronnie.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter if I was the asshole with glasses on or not. It just mattered that I knew Ronnie, and he gave me a hug. And, I got like that cred, which sort of bothered me kind of because it's like, really, guys, like we're not gonna play now. Like, I don't want to play anymore. Like, I'm just gonna do my own thing.
Dude, what a unique challenge you're faced with. Like, truly, like, it's already hard enough to be in a room, like very much like gladiator style, and like you're competing with everybody, but on top of that, to have to wear something that makes you, or could make you, like you said, come across as someone people don't want to like.
You know what's really cool, though, about this situation is that, so a judge came up to me, so you compete twice, prejudging and judging. So after prejudging, a judge came up to me. He was like, hey, come here. He's like, what's with the glasses? And I was like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I got permission to wear them. He's like, visual disability or just trying to be a cool guy? Like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, no, it's a visual disability. I would never do that. I have, I was born with it, rare genetic disability. I went blind in my 20s. This is my kind of like comeback to bodybuilding. And it's like really been a long journey for me to get here. And he was like, wow, that's a really cool story. He's like, Tanner was asking me about you, who's the owner of the company. He was like, he was really curious about your sunglasses because no one had told him you could wear them. And he was like, but he liked your look. And I was like, oh shit, cool. And something that I learned from Andy Frisella, who owns First Form,
Okay.
he has these long scars on his face. And what happened was he got in a bar fight protecting a friend, and the guy pulled a knife and just cut him, and he has these scars, and for years he was so embarrassed and ashamed of the scars on his face. But what he started realizing is he would go to more entrepreneur events and more things, networking events. Everybody remembered him because he had that distinguishing mark, right? It's a very memorable mark. And for me, if you're going to remember me because I have sunglasses on or notice me in a good way, and I can give you that little pitch, or someone can be like, oh no, he's got a visual thing, it works in my favor.
I was just gonna get to that exact same place, and I'm glad that's already the way you're thinking. I think that it undeniably will make you stand out, which is the one part you can't ignore. But it can make you stand out for a good reason or a bad reason. And I think, like you said, like if people remember you already just as a competitor for the way that you look and the way you show up in the sport and the way you are basically crushing it, the glasses are the cherry on top, because then all of a sudden it's the catch point, the selling point of like everybody can just go like, yeah, remember that guy? He looked amazing, guy with the glasses. Yeah. And all of a sudden it's not about your disability, it's about nothing. It's just a way for people to remember you, which is incredible. Yeah. And you have the power to flip that to go in your direction, which you've done. It's amazing.
Yeah. And again, that's the reframing. Like really working on the reframing.
So important.
And the fact that, the owner of the company asked about me, it even was interested enough to ask, and then was like, I like your look. It's like a really nice thing to hear your first show back. It's like, oh man, that's amazing. Because he's an amazing athlete himself. He's built an amazing company, and one that I hope to compete in for a long time. So yeah, it started out that rocky, weird, no one wants to play with a kid with sunglasses. And then, it ended up working out.
And that's also, I think, another like beautiful lesson in like, once again, sounds simple, but hanging in there. Because you will show up to events sometimes, and like I think we have as people that are go-getters, which I know you are, I know I am, we have a bit of a tendency, or I definitely do, I should speak for myself, to, if I work hard enough to show up for an event, whether it's on a movie set, whether it is on a goal I have physically, whatever it is, I sometimes will assume that because I've worked so hard leading up to the event, now it's just about doing it, and it should be kind of like easier. Sometimes it's not like that. You show up, you've done all the work you could have done, and it still sucks. And in that moment, you really got to hang in there and trust that it's going to get better like it did for you. And I think that's very much part of the journey of like, you get to the summit, you still have to tie the bow. You still have to hang in there and figure it out.
It's
and
resilience. You got to have that resilience, and it's so beneficial to be able to build it, right? Because again, you earn it like by going through it. That's the thing, right? The obstacle is the way. Like you're learning to build that resilience, and it's not always pleasant feeling, but most things aren't in the beginning. And you're right. It works out if you can just push through it.
That's it. Well, dude, I think I speak on behalf of everybody here at Conquer. We're so freaking proud of you.
Thank you.
You've done the thing. You talk the talk, you walk the walk. And before we wrap up with our quote, like we said, what's next? What's coming up next? You're getting ready again?
So I've already sort of started. I have a program, eating program, nutrition program. Frankie and I are ready to go. The goal is 20 pounds in 6 months. 20 pounds, keep the body fat low, build 20 pounds. In the cut, I'll probably lose 5 to 10 of that. So really just holding 10 more. It was 164, the first stage weight. The last show was 182. So if I can hold above 190, that'll give me the 10 pounds that I think will be the differentiator for me. Arms, chest size, I just need thickness. I'm so shredded. I just need bigger arms and bigger chest, which is like what everybody wants anyway. We got a lot of chest and arm workouts coming.
You heard it on camera. I'm just so shredded. I love it.
So,
dude, that's exciting. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's been good.
All right, let's do it, shall we?
Check it.
So apparently, if I remember correctly, we just have to go to the date. What is today's date? Does anybody know?
May 1st.
May 1st. All right. April, May. All right, and for those of you who maybe have not seen the previous podcast, that's where we decided that we're going to get into this habit of reading a quote at the end of each episode from The Daily Stoic, which is a book by Ryan Holiday. And every day of the year basically has a Stoic quote that we are going to read and expand on whatever it means to us. So, wait, I don't know the date anymore. March, April, May. That's what I'm looking for. May 1st. There we go. All right, here we go. May 1st. Make character your loudest statement. For philosophy doesn't consist in outward display, but in taking heed to what is needed and being mindful of it. So that's the quote. And then there is a little paragraph underneath. The monk dresses in his robes. A priest puts on his collar. A banker wears an expensive suit and carries a briefcase. A stoic has no uniform and resembles no stereotype. They are not identifiable by look or by sight or by sound. The only way to recognize them by their character. End of quote. How do we feel about that?
I like that, actually.
Yeah, I feel like it applies from the get-go. The make character your loudest statement seemed to speak so much to what you just went through.
Yeah, it really works with what we talked about. I was thinking about, what it looked like to kind of go from like the business person and then take those clothes off to go into the gym, bodybuilding attire, and nothing changed but what I was wearing. But the stoic mindset is what I had to try to hold on to.
100%.
And I have to work towards it clearly a little bit better and be more mindful of it. But I think it's totally correct. You don't really know who's stoic and who isn't based off of any identifiable thing. Yeah, I think that it, not to be too literal, but it makes me think of, once you're literally, in your case, stripped off of everything, it's basically this idea of like what remains, and what remains is your character, right? And like how you deal with event and that's deep. I love it. That's cool. That's a cool book.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm looking forward to reading more quotes, but let us guys know in the comments. Let us know what you guys think of that, and if you have any expansion of the mind on that quote that we just read.
We'll put that quote up too on the Instagram, so we can have it in a slide.
Sounds great.
Cool. All right, guys, thank you so much. We'll see you guys next week. It's Josh.
Cash.
And the Warrior Poet Society, or podcast.
And cut.